to seek legislative support for the Korean New Deal initiative, which encompasses 10 major projects and 2 digital and green pillars. Let me just interrupt myself. We are getting a live footage of the National Assembly. We will be listening to the President speak at the 21st National Assembly. We are getting the live footage. We're seeing President Moon Jae-in make his way into the meeting room at the National Assembly. Those are the 300 lawmakers who were elected back in April through the general election.
Let us now begin the President's address. Fellow Korean citizens, Speaker Park Byung-seok, Deputy Speaker Kim Sang-hee, and the members of the National Assembly, it was indeed a shaky beginning, and I would like to congratulate, nevertheless, the opening of the 21st National Assembly. We had a shaky beginning in the beginning, and however, I sincerely hope that we can overcome the challenges and muster our strength and wisdom to begin the 21st National Assembly with a set of renewed resolves. In the 21st National Assembly, a high record number of female lawmakers have been elected. The number of young lawmakers in their 20s and 30s also increased 4-fold. And ranging from the disabled, working class, firefighters, nurses, sports athletes, and artists, people from a wide range of arenas have been elected to represent the members of the public. The National Assembly building shall be a place that is renewed every day in order to make a country that is well off together. It is also an engine of the Republic of Korea that shall not cease even at a single moment. Centering around Speaker Park Byung-seok, who is fully equipped with a sense of leadership backed by his 6 years in office, as well as Deputy Speaker Kim Sang-hee, who has become the country's first ever female Deputy Speaker, I sincerely hope the National Assembly to be equipped with full of experience and vigor, maturity and freshness, as well as harmony through discussions and compromise. Members of the National Assembly, based on the tradition of solidarity and cooperation, the National Assembly has shown its power when we were faced at a crisis. During the Korean War, the National Assembly had to seek refuge in Daegu and Busan. Nevertheless, it opened its doors to continue discussions on the livelihoods of the citizens. And it also stood together with the public through refugee rescue and sending support to men and women in uniform. Amid the expulsion of lawmakers and house arrests, your predecessors also have claimed victory. Experiencing COVID-19 pandemic, we reminisce about the enactment of the National Basic Living Security Act during the 15th National Assembly. The institutionalization of securing the basic lives of the public, including minimum livelihood, education, and healthcare, enabled the National Assembly to lay the basics of welfare and safeguard the lives of the public. Our capacity to overcome this COVID-19 pandemic has been accumulated and developed through such legislation here at the National Assembly. In front of the timely task of making a fair and just country, the 20th National Assembly also poured efforts during the past 3 years of my administration for the lives and safety of our public. Thanks to the many achievements made by the former National Assembly, we were able to establish a framework for an innovative and inclusive country. The 20th National Assembly also played a big role in overcoming Japan's exports ban. It swiftly proceeded first and second supplementary budgets and exerted full efforts until the end of its term to address the COVID-19 crisis. I take this opportunity to extend my gratitude to the efforts put forth by the 20th National Assembly. However, I have to address the truth. Despite the many achievements and efforts of the 20th National Assembly, it is true that it received very low support from the public. While the level of political consciousness of our public continued to rise, our real politics were not able to keep up with the speed. I believe that the failure to cooperate was the biggest failure that it had faced. Prior to my presidential inauguration ceremony that was scaled back, I visited the four major opposition parties, and throughout the 20th National Assembly, I participated in 10 times of meetings with the political party leaders, floor leaders at the Presidential Blue House, and also established a standing cooperative consultative body among the leading opposition parties and the government. Also, through many addresses, I intended to enhance communication. At such moments, we vowed to cooperate in front of the public. However, this never materialized. Cooperation is only possible when two hands are met. I cannot but confess that there is no one else to blame, but emphasize that this is our mutual responsibility, including one from myself. The 21st National Assembly must put an end to the politics of confrontation and hostility. We must usher in a new era of cooperation. Especially at a time of such crisis on a global level, cooperation is ever more crucial. We need to live up to the expectations of the public who wish for bipartisan cooperation to overcome such national crises, and I sincerely hope that we compete with politics for an improved one. Members of the National Assembly, there were no moments in our history that was not important. But the present is indeed a very crucial time for the future of the Republic of Korea. The virus has transformed the lives of the humanity entirely and collapsed the global economy. It is also calling for a new international order. Our citizens also are confronting with great challenges in their daily lives, and so far we have lost the lives of some 290 citizens. The impacts of exports and employment on our economy is also being fully witnessed. If we were to find an area of comfort, it is the very fact that we rediscovered the Republic of Korea in the course of responding to such a crisis. We enhanced a sense of social trust as my neighbors safeguarded my own safety, and while we ourselves also safeguarded the safety of others. We also learned collectively that we can overcome any types of difficulties if we maintain solidarity and cooperation. The members of the public have highly praised our own capacity and thus the level of our pride that believe we are an advanced country has been higher than ever. As we experienced colonization, war, and as we trailed behind many advanced nations, we did not have the opportunity to look back on our own capabilities. Nevertheless, when we compare ourselves with the countries that we once envied, and when we look at ourselves from the eyes of the international society, we can now reaffirm our global status. Our K-quarantine has already become a global standard, and our citizens have a capacity to lead the world in many areas, including democracy, economy, culture, as well as society. When many nations around the world were worried about a nationwide election, our own citizens showed a high level of civil awareness, striking a balance between quarantine and democracy, becoming the only country in the world to carry out a nationwide election amid the pandemic. Among some 29 million voters and 300,000 people who took part in the process of polling, we made the miracle of having not a single case of infection. All our citizens became the agents of quarantine, expanding the liberty of individuals to the liberty of all, thereby opening a new horizon of democracy. The international society has highly applauded our citizens who showed the best practice of how true democracy works indeed. They also wished to learn from our successful quarantine amid such elections. At a time when global economies shut their doors against each other, we stood at the forefront of global coordination, showcasing that we can achieve both quarantine and economic development at the same time. Based on the spirit of solidarity and cooperation, we sent our quarantine supplies, including diagnostic kits and face masks, to many countries around the world. We are now also cooperating with other countries to develop an effective vaccine and therapeutics. K-pop, led by BTS, and other cultural contents, including K-contents like the movie Parasite. I am very astonished and proud of our public's high level of capacity and civil awareness. Now, our politics need to be supportive of just that. We need to place the Republic of Korea that has been rediscovered by the public on top of the cornerstone. With the strength mustered by our people, we need to overcome the COVID-19 crisis, and the 21st National Assembly has been endowed with the mission to make a country that leads the entire world. I sincerely hope that you would be at the center of public unity, which is essential in materializing such historic achievements. My administration will also exert our full efforts. We will overcome the national crisis and lead the post-COVID-19 era. We will make a true peace on the Korean Peninsula. Let us join efforts. Members of the National Assembly, overcoming the national crisis is the most crucial national task. It is a time now to muster our strength to protect the lives of our citizens and to safeguard the livelihoods of our people. We can be the first country in the world to overcome the COVID-19 crisis in the fastest and most exemplary manner. The principles of transparency, openness, and democracy that we utilize in the course of our quarantine efforts have already become global models for others to emulate. Compared to any other country, we are doing a great job in striking a balance between quarantine and daily routine, thanks to the high level of civil awareness, a sense of community among the public, as well as the dedication put forth by the medical practitioners. In this war against a virus that sees no end, my administration will continue to safeguard the front lines of quarantine. We also ask the support from the National Assembly. In particular, at a time when the COVID-19 continues to spread globally, we need to establish a more robust quarantine scheme. I ask the National Assembly to swiftly proceed the passing of the bill on organization restructuring, including one that upgrades the Korea Center's Disease for Control and Prevention into a Disease Control and Prevention Administration. Economically, the Republic of Korea is also doing a good job. Amid the negative economic growth of global economies, OECD, IMF also forecast that South Korea's economic growth will be better off among the other OECD member states. They cite that this is due to the effective quarantine and the strong economic stimulus packages put forth by my administration. In fact, we did not close down our national or regional borders, succeeded in achieving effective quarantine by not stopping our economic activities, and also we were able to minimize economic shock in this process. With the nation's first ever disaster relief payouts and 3 supplementary budgets, the bold and unprecedented measures put forth by my administration contributed to protecting the small business owners and sustaining employment. Thanks to the public's support and efforts to normalize economic activities by making it a routine habit to comply with safety measures, our economic indices are improving gradually. Going through the lowest points of April and May and through June and July, we are seeing some signs of economic recovery in exports, consumption, and employment. It is important for us not to miss this timely opportunity and proactively continue with this trend. If this is met with the cooperation from the National Assembly, I believe it will be greatly helpful. In order to make a fast rebound, it is time for us to exert our full efforts. My administration will also pour our utmost efforts. I ask National Assembly to also muster its strength. Members of the National Assembly, the humanity is now faced with an unprecedented challenge. The world before and after COVID-19 is changing fundamentally. If we fail to respond to such changes fundamentally, we can never head forward to the future. We will be eternally left in second place. If this change is unavoidable, my administration aims to initiate such change and transition it into an opportunity for a great leap forward. We aim to usher in a new future for the Republic of Korea that leads the world. I sincerely hope that the National Assembly will also join hands. The Korean New Deal is the very key to a new future. It is a national development strategy for us to make a great leap forward into a leading economy. Transitioning from a follower economy to a pace-setting one, from a carbon-dependent economy to a low-carbon one, and from an unequal society to an inclusive one, it is a declaration to majorly transition the Republic of Korea fundamentally. It is also a blueprint for a new century for the Republic of Korea. The Korean New Deal will be carried out through two pillars, digital and green New Deals, under the foundation of an inclusive country. The digital civilization and green revolution are the future of our humanity. We will stand at the forefront of such global change. We will become a country that leads the post-COVID-19 era, and we will write a new history where the Republic of Korea is no longer placed at the periphery, but at the center of the world. This is not just our dream. We already have global competitiveness in the digital arena. We are the world's #1 country in terms of ICT and semiconductors, and we also have the technology and capacity to lead the digital revolution. We have the sufficient soil to develop zero-contact industry, and the trend of innovative venture and startups is creating a dynamic economy. If we converge our digital capacity in all other industries, we can transform ourselves into a leading economy from a follower economy. We can indeed make the world's #1 digital country that leads the entire world. And in the green sector, we also have great potential if we highlight our strength. We already house the world's top solar energy company as well as related technologies, and we are leading the hydrogen economy through the development of the world's top-class hydrogen cars. In the area of electric cars and electric batteries, we are also in the lead. Of course, there are rooms for improvement, but if we keep our digital technology as the basis, we can become the true leader in the green revolution. By leading the global order of solidarity and operation to combat climate change, we can enhance our industrial competitiveness amid tighter global regulations. The Korean New Deal is a new societal contract. It is a pledge to take the current crisis as an opportunity to intensify our employment and social safety nets. We will break away from the mentality that crisis is intensified inequality. My administration will stand at the forefront. The employment safety net will be expanded in phases to include new types of workers, including freelancers and platform workers, going forward. We will also abolish the criteria for the obligation of support by 2022 and introduce a pilot run of a sickness allowance that enables people to stay home when feeling unwell. In order to successfully transition into a digital era and green revolution era, we will expand our investment into personnel. We will intensify nurturing of talent and vocational training scheme and especially focus on bridging the digital divide.
The government has promised an unprecedented investment in the Korean New Deal. Fiscal investment from the National Treasury will be 49 trillion by 2022 and 114 trillion by 2025. Including investments from local governments and the private sector, it will be 68 trillion won by 2022 and 160 trillion by 2025 in total. It will entail job creation, which will amount to 890,000 by 2022 and 1.9 million by 2025. The bold investment by the administration goes beyond surmounting crisis to driving a new change of the Republic of Korea. It will act as a window of opportunity to leap forward to a pace-setting country. It will immensely improve the quality of life of the Korean people and provide new job opportunities. The world is also paying attention to the Korean New Deal. OECD recently named our country as a unique case worthy of notice owing to the narrow fall in growth rate of 2020. It assessed the Korean New Deal centered around digital and green will further improve employment and investment compared to initial projections. For the Korean New Deal to succeed, cooperation of the National Assembly is a prerequisite. I will look forward to a sound solidarity between the government and the National Assembly. I hope the Korean New Deal will serve as a national development strategy that will drive us to the route to becoming the world's leading country. The government will faithfully carry out our role that has become larger and the responsibilities it entails. I ask the National Assembly to join in this path of endeavor. A new era requires a new norm. I ask you to muster your strengths in reforming regulations that pose a stumbling block in the path to a new era. Please expedite your efforts to improve systems in accordance to the changing environment. The National Assembly also plays a significant role in mediating and integrating conflicts of interest that can impede our progress forward. I ask your exceptional interest and affection in the legislation to strengthen employment safety net and social safety net that are in dire need. The Korean New Deal will continue to evolve. It will expand to the regions and the private sector, thereby dynamically changing the Republic of Korea. In particular, the Korean New Deal will be connected to various New Deal projects led by the regions. It will be the underlying force in converting local regions into digital spaces and green towns. I am confident that your proactive contributions will be a great help. Any good ideas from the National Assembly to proliferate the Korean New Deal to the regions will be met by a bipartisan, all-out support from the government. The Korean New Deal has just set its first steps forward. When the National Assembly supplements its shortcomings, it will further develop and be complete. The National Assembly and the government must respond urgently to people's demands for livelihood and fair economy. The most pressing legislative task regarding livelihood is the real estate policy. The world is in the state of the most affluent liquidity and the lowest interest rate in history. Without curbing the speculative demand flooding into real estate market, actual demands cannot be protected. The government will come up with all necessary measures to restrain speculation and stabilize the real estate price. We will increase the burden of ownership for multi-home owners and raise the transfer tax for market profits that will make clear that real estate speculation can no longer be lucrative. On the other hand, we will ease the burden on the actual residents owning one house per household. We will vigorously promote measures to stabilize housing to enable housing purchase by ordinary people and youths. While listening to the voices of the opposition demanding the expansion of housing supply, we will seek for necessary measures. I ask the National Assembly for its cooperation. Without the National Assembly's legislation to support the real estate measures of the government, including the three major acts regarding leasing, it will merely be a half-completed measure. In addition, I hope legislations for a fair economy and coexistence, such as the Commercial Act, Fair Trade Act, Financial Group Supervision Act, Large and Small Business Coexistence Act, Distribution Industry Development Act, and etc., will be dealt with urgency in the 21st session of the National Assembly. Members of the National Assembly, peace on the Korean Peninsula is still fragile. Achievements of inter-Korean relations and North Korea-U.S. relations that were born by tremendous efforts are still incomplete. The relations between the two Koreas is still fragile, as treading on thin ice. This is the time when we should put in our bipartisan effort to collect wisdom for the peace on the Korean Peninsula. Peace is the backbone of sustainable prosperity. Peace is an absolute must for our safe living in the post-COVID-19 era. We shall never stop our walk toward peace. Dialogue is the only force to build trust between the two Koreas. With the power of dialogue, we were able to witness the reunion of separated families and the peaceful economic activities of the Kaesong Industrial Complex and Mount Kumgang. We were also able to successfully host the peaceful Pyeongchang Winter Olympics and the first ever North Korea-U.S. summit that followed. The Korean people have overcome numerous challenges for the sake of peace. Another barrier that may come before us, we will for sure overcome it. We will do our utmost to fulfill the three principles that we agreed upon: war intolerance, guarantee of mutual security, and co-prosperity. I hope the National Assembly will join in our effort. If the National Assembly can secure the irreparable peace on the Korean Peninsula, the ground to pursue peace will be more solid. I hope institutionalization of the achievements of the previous inter-Korean summits and hosting the first ever inter-Korean Congress will be successful at the 21st National Assembly. When South and North Korea cooperates based on faith, it will be mutually beneficial. Railway and roads that connect the two Koreas will be extended to mainland, and that itself will garner tremendous logistical economic benefits. Moreover, peace will bring about almost infinite job opportunities. With the power of the 21st National Assembly, we will be able to proactively open up the door of peace, security, life community that centers around the East Asian region. That can be the scheme to perpetualize denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula and also a device of regional cooperation to address infectious diseases like the COVID-19 crisis. Honorable fellow Koreans, Speaker, and the members of the National Assembly. Even if the government and the National Assembly make swift improvements in laws and regulations, oftentimes it still lags behind the fast-changing reality. That is why the speed of legislation should be ramped up dramatically. I look forward to seeing the National Assembly take the lead in timely enforcement of legislations for the people. I ask the National Assembly to stand at the forefront in materializing the value of fairness, one that represents our times. The innovative DNA that flows in our public can come into fruition only when we have the belief that we are living in a fair society. As for the tasks of reform that were not achieved over the past 2 decades, the Act on establishing a special body to investigate the corruption involving high-level officials, as well as the Act on adjusting the investigative power between the prosecution and police would be achieved by the 21st session of the National Assembly. The deadline for the establishment of the special investigative body that has been set by the National Assembly has passed. The government has finished preparations by organizing lower statutes. Nevertheless, there are some tasks needed to be carried out by the National Assembly, including the designation of the body's chief. I ask the National Assembly to complete the recommendation of the head of this investigative body and to hold the nomination hearing within the time frame. I sincerely hope that this is completed in the 21st National Assembly. My administration will also fully support the National Assembly in setting a path for the public, including the resumption of the standing consultative body among the government, ruling, and opposition parties. We will expand the scope of dialogue with the National Assembly through various means. The ruling opposition parties and the government will regularly meet to enhance the level of mutual trust, and we will discuss and carry out state efforts based on such trust. I sincerely hope that the values of inclusiveness, co-prosperity, solidarity, and cooperation will begin from the National Assembly and be deeply rooted in our society. Amidst such grand expectations, I stand with the public in congratulating you once again on the first step of the 21st National Assembly. Thank you.
That was President Moon Jae-in's address at the 21st National Assembly's opening ceremony, calling for legislative cooperation from Parliament in pushing forward his administration's key agendas. Those include carrying out Korean New Deal initiative, curbing rising house prices, setting peace on the Korean Peninsula, and setting better quarantine system within the country, as well as investigating corruption among the senior level public servants. Well, that brings us to the end of our special coverage on this President Moon Jae-in's speech at the Parliament today on this Thursday afternoon. Thank you for your company. We'll be back at 5 p.m. Korea time with a regular newscast. Until then, goodbye.